Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse, the Flash Impulse. This is part of the McFarlane Gold Label Collection. Gold Label Collection still means it's an exclusive to a certain retailer. This guy's an exclusive to Target. Found him at my local Target today. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane Toys, ages 12 plus, McFarlane Gold Label Collection, DC Multiverse Impulse. Here he is in the package. We have a display stand, collector's card, and then 4 Speed Force effects. One side of the package, Impulse from Flash War. Other side, Symbiosis Impulse. At the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there's his barcode, in case it helps anybody. And on the back side, here's an image of Impulse from the comics. So, found this at my local Target, able to cancel my pre-order the way I like it, having a plan A and B. So no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that we have this figure out of the package, here he is with all of his accessories laid out. He comes with 4 Speed Force effects, a display stand, and a collector's card. But before we take a look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Bart Allen. He's a speedster from the 31st century. He's often a member of the Teen Titans or Young Justice. And with a name like Bart Allen, you know he's a descendant of Barry Allen, a time-traveling speedster. So let's take a look at him. Starting off with his face here. Hair looks good, kind of wild, kind of spiked up. He has these goggles on, and they're actually transparent. You can see his eyes underneath there. Very well done. That's what they should have done with Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. He's got the lightning bolts on the side of his head. Hair looks pretty good, flowing back. He's on that same John Kent body. This is the 6th figure to utilize that body, and it's getting a little bit old now, but it is very appropriate for this particular figure. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, pretty basic looking body. You can still see some of those sculpting details that John Kent body is known for that are not appropriate for any of the other 5 figures, but still, it works for this guy. And just a closer look at his face and head sculpt, I actually think they did a really nice job on his face and head sculpt. Very well done, from the hair to the goggles to that little smirk on his face, lightning bolts. It's all good. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. Typical McFarlane stand we've seen a bunch of times. Black perfect circle. It says DC on the bottom, and it's got 1 peg for the pegals on his feet. It's very thin, very basic. Now for his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Impulse from the comics, Impulse from the Flash War. On the back side, there's a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Now for his Speed Force effects. They're cast in a semi-transparent plastic material. Yellow, kind of clear, simulates lightning bolts. It has a little bit of give to it, so you can wrap it around his limbs. Here's Impulse in a running pose with no Speed Force effects attached. Then, with the Speed Force effects attached. Now I wanted to check him out, next to John Kent. John Kent was the first figure to introduce this smaller, slimmer new body, and it's been used a bunch of times since then. I was curious what the differences were between Impulse and Superboy here, so let's take a look. Obviously, their heads are totally different. Going a little further down, their torso is the same, except Superman has this logo here that's added on top. But you can see the abs here are exactly the same on the 2 different figures. Going to the side, Impulse has that sculpted piece there that's inaccurate. It's made where the red on Superboy is, and they could have smoothed that out by now. They've used it a bunch of times, and the other 5 occasions it's been just an inaccurate extra sculpting piece. He's got these, I don't know, I wouldn't exactly call them bracelets, but things around his wrists here. The diaper piece is definitely different. Superboy here has his belt attached, and as we go down, the legs appear to be the same. He once again has these sort of buckles around his ankles here, and then you can see that extra sculpting piece where the red is here. It's on Impulse as well. So, exact same figure, minus the buckles around the ankles, the wrists, the head, and the diaper. I mentioned 6 different figures that utilize this John Kent body, and here they are. Every one of these figures has the exact same body, maybe different hands, different head, and different diaper, but beyond that, it's pretty much the exact same thing. And individually, they look pretty good, but when you have them next to some other figures, there's definitely some problems. Nightwing, for example, looks awesome by himself. but he should be bigger than Kid Flash or Impulse. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and its accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing at about 6.9 inches tall, which can translate to about 17.5 centimeters. Now for his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, it can rotate from side to side, up about that far, down, good amount. That's going to help when you have the running poses. He can look forward pretty good. Can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got a butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest area, increasing the range of motion and covering that large gap that would be there. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. His wrist can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. I really hate that hand sculpt there, although it's not too bad for a running hand. He's got a ball joint in his torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one in his waist, rotate around, forward and back. On mine, the torso is way looser than the waist. Between the two, very good range of motion. Legs, complete as a splits. Not a ball joint, McFarlane style hip joints. They go forward, about that far, back, not much. Rotation, it's minimal, but it's there. Double jointed knees. Then his ankle here, forward and back. Rotate, tilt, rock, and of course, toe articulation. For this next scene, let's switch to a city-type setup. Here's Impulse running through the streets of a future central city. Here's a side view of Impulse running. You can see the Speed Force effects all around him. And a frontal view of Impulse running. Impulse believes if he runs just fast enough, he can break through the speed barrier, break through time and multiverse, and that's just what he does. Here he is, going as fast as he possibly can, and then coming to a screeching halt. Flames all around his feet. Bart Allen meets up with Barry Allen, Wallace West, and Wally West. They're going to save the multiverse, the future, and the past. Now let's check them out, next to some other action figures. And since I don't have any other Impulse figures, let's start off by checking them out with some other McFarlane Flash and Speedster figures. Here he is, next to Barry Allen, the main Flash, and this is the one from the Rebirth comics. Then, next to the Injustice 2 version of Barry Allen. Then, next to the Grant Gustin CW TV series Barry Allen Flash. And here, next to the Speed Metal Barry Allen. Then, next to the Page Punchers Barry Allen Flash. And here, next to the Ezra Miller Zack Snyder's Justice League Barry Allen. And finally, next to the Ezra Miller Barry Allen from the upcoming Flash film. And here he is, next to all the different McFarlane Barry Allen figures together. And here he is, next to all of McFarlane's Wally West Flash figures. Then, next to McFarlane's Jake Garrick Flash figures. And here, next to McFarlane's Wallace West Kid Flash figures. I always thought of Impulse as sort of a replacement of Kid Flash. Back in the old day, we had this sort of cheesy Wally West Kid Flash, and eventually he grew up and became Flash. At one point, they introduced Impulse from the future, and he was sort of the new young Kid Flash type character. Here's Impulse, next to a couple of Reverse Flash figures. Then, next to Godspeed. And finally, next to a couple of Dark Flash figures. Here are absolutely all of McFarlane's DC Multiverse Speedster characters. We have Reverse Flash, Jake Garrick, Dark Flash, Barry Allen, Wallace West, Wally West, and Godspeed. Now the next Speedster figures that McFarlane's going to be making is going to be the Flash figure from Flashpoint, then the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive Flash, and then, rumor is, they're going to make the other two head variants of the Speed Metal Dark Flash. Here's Impulse, next to a couple of other Young Justice members, Tim Drake Robin and the Con-El Superboy, although neither one of these is the right version from the Young Justice comics. Then, next to some other potential Teen Titans members, Damian Wayne Robin, Impulse, Aqualad, and Beast Boy. Now let's check him out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the entire Flash Wave. And here he is, next to the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Dick Grayson Robin and Kyle Rayner Blue Lantern. Then, next to some other recent Target exclusive Gold Label figures, we have the Jokerized Dark Detective Batman, Deadman, Impulse, and then both the Flashpoint Aquaman and Project Superman. Here's Impulse, next to some recent Walmart exclusive gold label figures. Vampire Batman, Vampire Joker, Eradicator, and Beast Boy. And here he is, next to the Titans Wave, collective build Beast Boy. Then, next to Wonder Woman and Shazam, from Shazam Fury of the Gods. And now, next to the Arkham City Riddler, and the Arkham Knight Earth 2 Batman skin. Here's Impulse, next to the two most recent McFarlane Mega figures, Calabac and Fulcrum Abominus. And here he is, next to the fourth wave of Page Punchers. This is an Aquaman themed wave. We have Aqualad, Aquaman, Ocean Master, and Black Manta. Then, next to the Dark Knight Trilogy wave, collected build Bane from the Dark Knight Rises. And now, next to the Kingdom Come Armored Batman, and the Dark Knight's Metal Gladiator Batman, here's Impulse, next to the Con-El Superboy, Duke Thomas the Signal, and both versions of the Jay Garrick Flash. And here he is, next to the most recent Batman wave. We have the Hush Batman, both versions of the Nightfall Catwoman, both versions of the Mr. Freeze, and Infinite Frontier Joker. And finally, here he is, next to the Amazon exclusive Tim Drake Robin, and the Amazon exclusive Batman Family 5-pack. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, with some more McFarlane Toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, next to some Jack-specific wrestling figures, here's Impulse, next to a bottle of ranch dressing, and here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, with some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures, and here he is, standing with some NECA figures. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures, and now, with some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, with some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here he is, next to some Mayfix figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a really nice Impulse figure. Even though he's from a modern comic story, Flash War, he looks just like Impulse did back in the 90s. I would love to get the traditional green Tim Drake suit, and it is coming, and I hope they give us a 90s Superboy. That way we can start putting the Young Justice team together. This guy utilizes the John Kent body, and frankly, I'm pretty tired of that body, but I think it actually works really well for Impulse. Both on Impulse and Kid Flash, it works great. Now his head sculpt is fantastic. I love how they did the goggles, the hair, it all looks good, the little smirk. His articulation is everything you would expect from a modern McFarlane DC Multiverse figure, although mine keeps wanting to twist the torso. His accessories, the Speed Force effects, they're good, but they're not great. If I were to rate this guy, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I don't really feel like I need Impulse in my collection, although I'm very happy to add him, and the fact that it's the normal, iconic version really pleases me. Hope we can eventually put the entire Young Justice 90s team together, but time will tell. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.